fail, and you're going to feel defeated, and you're just going to give up, and that's not what anybody wants, right? Um, there is a there are certain steps we definitely do want to take when we're practicing and studying Buddhism and meditation. Um, it's difficult to know what those steps are when you are trying to study and practice on your own, because no book really is going to teach you where to start first, right? A lot of the basic or intro books to Buddhism kind of give you the basic information, which is perfectly fine, right? It's good. Um, but after a while, after you've read so many of those books, some people get pretty stuck and they don't really know where to go next or what to do next. Um, so, and that's pretty much where I was at many years ago, right? For the first few years of me practicing Buddhism, I didn't feel like I needed to be part of a temple or a sangha, because I was doing everything that I thought I needed to do on my own. But eventually I got to a point where I was just pretty much stuck and really didn't know what to do next or how to do it. So that's when I finally came to temple, right? Temple here. Um, and, we have a teacher that would guide us. We have the Sangha members that help us with questions or with other topics, or to also help guide us further. So it's really important, I feel, that you can study all the basics you can if you're studying the correct basics. And for me, I consider the basics or the foundation of Buddhism as the Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path, the understanding of karma or cause and effect, and then also understanding on a slightly higher level of the 12 links of dependent origination, and of course some meditation practices. So that for me, I feel like is the base core concepts and teachings you have to know before you can study anything else, because everything else we study outside of those topics will always relate to the Four Noble Truths or to the 12 links of dependent origination. So we really have to know those pretty thoroughly, pretty deeply, in order to practice or study anything else. Otherwise, you're just going to go over your head and really just hurt yourself in the end, because you may come across certain teachings, certain words, even vocabulary, where you think you may understand it, but you may not. And then you try to continue with that advanced practice, and in the end, it's not going to benefit you whatsoever. So do try to stay pretty basic as much as you can until you feel like you've completely and fully understood the foundations first before you're able to advance any further. There is an article that I posted on our Facebook page the other day, written by Venerable Pema Chodron, who's a Tibetan Buddhist nun, that she wrote about the importance of having a monastic community, which is the Sangha, right, or the monastic community of monks and nuns. And it's a beautiful article I think everyone should go and read. But on top of that, it is pretty important to be part of a Sangha, right? Buddhism is it's growing pretty rapidly, pretty quickly across the world, especially in America. So every major city that I've been to or have known someone from will at least have one temple or one Buddhist community or learning center or something, right? Somewhere where you can go and learn from teachers or monks or senior students, right? And that's important because you at least have somewhere where you can go to ask questions. You can get guidance, spiritual guidance from them, right? If you are in a place where you're kind of stuck or just needing help with something. But then you also, if it is a temple or a monastery and they have monastics there amongst the nuns, it's also good to have a teacher, right? A spiritual teacher, because it's our life vocation now to master the Buddhist teachings, right? So it's our job to read many sutras, to study different texts and different teachings, and practice all these teachings and contemplate them and meditate on them, so that we have a pretty comprehensive and full view of the practice, right? I definitely don't know everything yet. I don't think any monk or nun would know everything because Buddhism is pretty vast, right? It will literally take you an entire lifetime to go through every sutra and every teaching because it's just, there's so much of it. But at least with a teacher, or a sangha of members or a community of members, that know hopefully a little bit more than you do, and they're able to guide you to the right teachings, perhaps even suggest a specific teaching or sutra or practice or something that will benefit you. Otherwise, if you kind of just stay on your own, you may just be stuck, where you either won't advance in the practice, you don't know what to do, where to go, what to read, and you're kind of just stuck and you don't have nowhere to go. Or you feel discouraged because you don't know where to go and what to do, and so you may give up and drop everything altogether, right? And you've wasted however long of you practicing and studying for nothing. I've gone way off topic, haven't I? But I think my point is that the watching or thinking meditation is not the most advanced. It's pretty up there, but it's something that we all have to do eventually. So I think, at least for all the core members of our temple, all the core students of my meditation class, may be at that point, hopefully, because we've been together in the meditation class for almost a year now. So we've gone through everything, and we've went over a few specific topics and methods before. So for those people, for those members, I think this is a good starting point to kind of go further. But for those that aren't part of the temple or community or my class, this is where you really have to gauge yourself, right, in your practice, because only you know how good you are in meditation, right? Only you know how much distraction actually distracts you. You only know what works for you and what doesn't work. So if you feel you're at a point where you're pretty satisfied, I guess, in a way, about how you meditate and how you react, or stay mindful of your meditation and your thoughts. And if you feel you're kind of good, right, if you still get distracted a few times, but you're able to recognize it and go back to your meditation object, which is perfectly fine. So if you feel like you've gotten to a point where you're pretty good at that, then you may want to start doing the meditation watching or thinking, which is a little bit more difficult because we have to stop the habitual feeling of recognizing and eliminating the thought, versus what we have to do now is recognize the thought, go with it, and watch how the thought process works. And we do that because doing this, for the most part, we don't have a meditation object per se. I don't do this meditation with a meditation object. Like, I'm not meditating on my breath or listening to anything or doing any mantras. Well, I take that back. Typically, what I'm doing is watching my body. I'm just feeling my body. Typically, I'm focusing on my abdomen or my chest as I breathe. So just feeling the sensations of breathing. That's typically what I do at first, and then I'm able to drop it after a while. So I would suggest at least start with a meditation object, right? Whether it's your breathing or something else. I wouldn't recommend external objects of meditation, like reciting a mantra or listening to sounds, right? You want to do something that's internal. So whether it's counting your breath, feeling sensations of your breathing, or anything else, keep it breath related, I would think. Because what can happen is if we're listening to something or we're concentrating on the mantra that we're saying, that alone may be too much of a distraction to be able to recognize the external distractions that come along. So I would avoid that and keep your meditation object about the breath. So whether counting your breath, feeling the breath, watching the breath, whatever it may be, keep it about breath work. Because I think that's easiest, where the distraction of breathing is minimal, we're able to still recognize, see the thinking, and start learning to watch it. Okay, that's been 30 minutes. So, as usual, I've been answering many questions that have been emailed to me or to the temple. So if you have any questions or concerns or emotional outbursts, feel free to comment or send us an email, and I will gladly get back to you as soon as I can. So now we will go to our general service for chanting. So if you have our book, please join me for our general service. You may also download the service from our website under the Services tab. There's a link there to download our chants. So before going to meditation, please join me in invoking our teacher's name and transferring the merit. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. For any positive karmic action we have accumulated here today, we wish to transfer the merit to all sentient beings and wish them full enlightenment. Body, speech, and mind in perfect oneness, I send my heart along with the sound of the bell. May the hearers awake from forgetfulness and transcend all anxiety and sorrow. Listen, listen, this wonderful sound me back to my true home. In gratitude we offer this incense to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas throughout space and time. May it be fragrant as earth herself, reflecting our careful efforts, our wholehearted mindfulness, and fruit of understanding slowly ripen The incense in the censer now is burning. All the Dharma realm in every place. Auspicious clouds appear. Our sincere intention thus fulfilling, as all Buddhas now show perfect body. Homage to the incense cloud canopy, Bodhisattva and great Bodhisattvas. Homage to the eternally abiding Buddhas, the supreme Dharma insatiably sung throughout the Dharma realm and the realm of empty space in 3 periods of time. Homage to the fundamental teacher Shakyamuni Buddha, Maitreya Buddha, Manjushri, great wisdom, Bodhisattva, universal great conduct, Bodhisattva, all Dharma guarding Deva, Bodhisattvas, and the magic mountain Assam, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Homage to Amitabha Buddha in the land of ultimate bliss, Avalokiteshvara, great compassion, Bodhisattva, great strength, Bodhisattva, earth store, great vow, Bodhisattva, and the assembly of great pure sea like Bodhisattva. The Great Compassion Mantra with 1,000 hands and 1,000 eyes on you runs like this. Namo Ratna Trayaya, Namo Arya Avalokiteshvaraya, Bodhisattvaya, Mahasattvaya, Mahakarunikaya, Hum Avadi Sudana Sasya Namaskirpana Mandarya Avalokiteshvaranan Namo Nilakanta Shri Mahapada Shami Sarvadata Shubham Ashiyam Sarva Sattva Namo Vasa Namo Bhagama Bhatetu Tadyata Hum Avaloka Lokadi Kaladi Shri Mahabodhisattva Bosabo Mara Mara Mashima Shiridayo Goro Goro Gamyan Doro Doro Bashyate Mahab Dara Dara Dirini Shvaraya Jala Jala Mahabamara Modela Heya Hishina Shina Halashin Shadi Basha Vasin Varashaya Holo Holo Bra Holo Holo Shri Sara Sara Siri Siri Soro Soro Bodhiya Bodhaya Bodhaya Maitreya Narakan Satrisha Nirabhaya Mani Swaha Sitaya Swaha Maha Sitaya Swaha Sitaya Yeshvaraya Swaha Nilakanti Swaha Pranila Swaha Shisima Hokaya Swaha Sarva Mahahasaya Swaha Chakra Hasaya Swaha Shaya Swaha Nilakantam Pantalaya Swaha Mopodi Shankaraya Swaha Namo Ratna Trayaya Namo Arya Teshvaraya Pataya Swaha, Om Sedyanto Mantra Pataya Swaha. The Dharma body is bringing morning light in concentration. My heart is at peace, a half smile is born on my lips. This is a new day, and I vow to go through it in mindfulness. Now wisdom has risen, shining in every direction. Noble Sangha, diligently bring your to meditation. Namo Shakyamunaye Buddhaya, Namo Shakyamunaye Buddhaya, Shakyamunaye Buddhaya. The one who bows and the one who is bowed to are both by nature empty. Therefore the communication between them is inexpressibly perfect. Center is a net of Indra, reflecting all Buddhas everywhere, as my own person reflects in all Buddhas, to whom with my whole life I go for refuge. Offering light in the 10 directions, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, to whom we bow in gratitude. Teaching and living the way of awareness in the very midst of suffering and confusion. Shakyamuni Buddha, the awakened one, to whom we bow in gratitude. Cutting through ignorance, awakening our hearts and our minds. Manjushri, the Bodhisattva of great understanding, to whom we bow in gratitude. Working mindfully, working joyfully for the sake of all beings. Samanta Bhadra, the Bodhisattva of great action, to whom we bow in gratitude. Responding to suffering, serving beings in countless ways. Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of great compassion, to whom we bow in gratitude. Seed of awakening and loving kindness, and children, sprouts, and all beings. Maitreya, the Buddha, to be born, to whom we bow in gratitude. Showing the way fearlessly and compassionately, the stream of all our ancestral teachers, to whom we bow in gratitude. The Dharma is deep and lovely, we now have a chance to see it and practice it. We vow to realize its true meaning. Heart of the Prajna Paramita, the Bodhisattva Avalokita, while moving in the deep course of perfect understanding, shed light on the 5 skandhas and found them empty. After this penetration, he overcame ill-being. Listen, Shariputra, form is emptiness, emptiness is form, form is not other than emptiness. Is not other than form. The same is true with feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness. Listen, Shariputra, all dharmas are marked with them. They are neither produced nor destroyed, neither defiled nor immaculate, neither increasing nor decreasing. Their emptiness, there is neither form nor feelings, no perceptions nor mental formations nor consciousness, no eye or ear or nose or tongue or body or mind, sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no object of mind, no realms of elements, no interdependent origins, and no extinction of them, no ill-being, no cause, being, no end of ill-being, and no path, no understanding, and no attainment, because there is no attainment. The Bodhisattva in perfect understanding find no obstacles for their minds, having no obstacles they overcome fear, liberating themselves forever and realizing perfect nirvana. All Buddhas in the past, present, and future arrive at full right and universal enlightenment. Therefore one should know that understanding is the highest mantra, the unequaled mantra, the destroyer of ill-being, the incorruptible mantra, Prajna Paramita should therefore be proclaimed. Gate Gate Para Gate Para Samgate Bodhi Swaha Gate Gate Para Para Samgate Bodhi Swaha Gate Gate Para Gate Para Samgate Bodhi Swaha. We invoke your name, Avalokiteshvara. We aspire to learn your way of listening in order to help relieve the suffering in the world. Listen in order to understand. We invoke your name in order to practice listening with all our attention and open. We will sit and listen without any prejudice. We will sit and listen without judging or reacting. We will sit and listen in order to understand. We will sit and listen so attentively, able to hear what the other person is saying and also what is being left unsaid. We know that just by listening deeply, we already create a great deal of pain and suffering in the other person. We invoke your name, Manjushri. We aspire to learn your way, which is to be still and to look deeply into the heart of things and into the hearts of people. We will look with all our attention and openness. We will look with unprejudiced eyes. We will look without judging or reacting. We will look deeply so that we will be able to see and understand the roots of suffering through the impermanent and selfless nature of all that is. We will practice your way of using the sword of understanding to cut through the bonds of suffering, thus freeing ourselves and other species. We invoke your name, Samanta Bhadra. We aspire to practice your vow to act with the eyes and heart of compassion, to bring joy to one person in the morning and to ease the pains on one person in the afternoon. We know that the happiness of others is our own happiness, and we aspire to practice joy on the path of service. We know that every word, every look, every action, and every smile can happiness to others. We know that if we practice wholeheartedly, we ourselves may become an inexhaustible source of peace and joy for our loved ones and for all species. We invoke your name, Shittigarbha. We aspire to learn your way of being present where there is darkness, suffering, oppression, and despair, so we can bring light, hope, relief, and liberation to those places. We are determined not to forget about or abandon those in desperate situations. We will do our best to establish with those who cannot find a way out of their suffering, those whose cries for help, justice, equality, and human rights are not being heard. We know that help can be found in many places on earth. We will do our best not to contribute to creating more earth and to help transform the hells that already exist. We will practice in order to realize the qualities of perseverance and stability, that like the earth we can always be supportive and faithful to those in need. I take refuge in the Buddha, the one who shows me the way in this life. I take refuge in the Dharma, way of understanding and of love. I take refuge in the Sangha, the community that lives in harmony and awareness. dwelling in the huge of Sangha, shining light that supports me, keeping my practice free of obstruction.